All right, here we go. Today we're continuing our lesson from what we started yesterday. That's why if you notice the objective is almost exactly the same. Our objective for today can summarize data using relative frequency tables. Read together, 1, 2, 3. I can summarize data using relative frequency tables. So the only thing that I added to the objective was what? The relative frequency tables. Yesterday was just an introduction to frequency tables. Okay? So we don't need a Freire model since we already know what frequency tables are. We don't need steps because we also know the steps that we did those, right? And who noticed that the home plate was probably one of the easiest ones you've ever done, right? Yeah. All right. So the one thing is that I want you guys to start thinking about is what questions might they ask in regards to the data that they give you. If you notice some of the questions, they just kept asking to make sure that you knew what came from what. Today we're going to continue on that, build up on that. And I'm going to do a quick recap really quick. Here it goes. Look at this one. It's right on your iPad screen, and it says one-way frequency table. And this is a one-way because we can go ahead and have a total all the way to the right. Does everybody see that? And it doesn't have a second category for underneath frequency. It's just frequency. Does everybody understand why it's a one-way? Because we just go one way and we total. Does that make sense? All right. Now, one-way frequency table, it's a little bit different. Let me switch to my PowerPoint. Check this out. Look up to the screen. A one-way frequency, if you notice, look up, it's almost identical. Do you guys see it? The only thing from this table to this table is that I changed frequency to what? Relative frequency. All right. So what does that mean? What is, bless you, a relative frequency? So relative frequency means the frequency of the category. How many categories do I have here? 3. So the frequency of a category divided by the total of all the frequencies. So let me look at the frequency of, of the category of basketball. The frequency was 20. To find the relative frequency, check this out. Everybody see what I did? This could be reduced. So it would be 20 over 80, 2 over 8. Is that correct? 2 over 8 becomes what? 1/4, which is 0.25. Ever see how that works? Okay, so what I want you to do on your paper, copy example 1 and write one-way frequency. One-way relative frequency. So then you're going to copy first the frequency table, which is this one. Write preferred sport, basketball, football, soccer, total, and then you're for the second row at frequency with these amounts. And then from there, I want you to copy this table with blanks so you can fill in the rest of the information. Yes? The relative is basically that how it's related to the total. That's what relative means, right? When you're related to someone, how you're related to that person. In this case, look up, good question. What does it mean by relative is that how does this one relate to the total? Well, how does it relate? That it's 20 out of what? 80, and it becomes 0.25. Good question. Therefore, with that same idea, look up, please. What would you write for the relative frequency of football? Talk it over with your neighbor, please. What would you write for relative frequency for football? Okay, let's see. What would you write in there? Go ahead, Jonathan. Okay, and then from there you would reduce and you would get what? Eight over 10, 4 over 5. 4 over 5, you said? Okay. So let's start with 32 over 80 and then reduce, right? So I want you to fill in the rest, please, of that table. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to, since you're copying this example on your paper, I'm going to forward the screen so you can send me that on the iPad. You can write over that one, okay? No, don't take a picture. You just write over the screen. Oh, my goodness. All right, I just sent you that, so lock your toolbar, and you can go ahead and write over those cells. Fill in the table, please. Go. All right, so moving right along, you should have been able to fill that. So show me with your fingers how comfortable you are filling in one-way relative frequency tables. Notice that, yeah, out of 5. Notice that it's the same thing as yesterday, except for now we're just finding the relation from that to the total in fraction form and in decimal. Yes? Yes, Mr. Q. All right, good. Let's move on. So look at today. Today we're going to be looking at, hold on, let me go back. What's that? I'm going to freeze? All right. Check this out. Today we're going to be looking at two-way relative frequency tables. And it works the same way. The one that we did right now was just one way. Now we're going to look at the two-way. Does everybody see the two-way frequency table here? Does everybody see it? You're looking up to the screen. You're looking up to the screen? Yes. All right. All right. So check this out. The only difference that for this two-way, it's broken down into two different sections. The first section is called marginal. Now let me relate that to, let's say, language arts. The margin that they ask you to make is usually at the end. Is that correct? Same thing with this, relating it to mathematics. The marginal relative frequency is the one at the end. So watch. The marginal is this and this. So, to find the relative frequency of the marginal part, or known as marginal relative frequency, we do this. 36 over 80, 44 over 80, 20 over 32 over, and 28 over 80. Fairly simple? That's what we call marginal relative frequency, and it should look like this once you have your fractions with decimals. There it is, and there it is. Are we there so far? Okay, but do you notice that there's a little, the ones in the inside of the table, those are the ones that we haven't computed, yes? Those are called something different. Those are called joint relative frequencies. Joint relative frequencies. So look, here he goes. Look up, please. Look at this one. Joint relative frequencies. So by looking at it, a two-way relative frequency table, to find the frequency, the relative frequency of a two-way table, what are you supposed to do? Talk it over with your neighbor, please. What are you supposed to do to find the relative frequency of that two-way table? Go. I'll give you some time to talk it over. All right, who can put it in simple words? Let's say your BFF wasn't here and they came in. What did we do with Mr. Q? Oh, we did a two-way relative frequency table. So what do we do? What do we do for this one, Julia? Did everybody hear that? So, and to put it in general terms, we would, to find the marginal and the joint relative frequencies, we need to divide by what? By the total. Does everybody, the grand total. Everybody see that? So notice that all of these are divided by the same 80, except for they're called different things. The ones at the end are called marginal, and the ones in the center are called joint. Everybody there? All right? There's one more that I want to introduce, which is called conditional relative frequency. The conditional one depends on which condition they're asking you to look at. If I focus on soccer, I'm focusing on this condition, soccer. To find the relative frequency of this condition, that means I'm going to do what? 18 divided by 28. 10 divided by, because I'm only focusing on that condition. Everybody see that? So that's the only difference from finding your marginal and your joint to the conditional. Let's say I changed the condition and I said, find me the relative frequency for the condition of girls only. Girls only. So then you look at these. Therefore, tell your neighbor, what would you write for this cell? Okay? So I hear 6 over 36, and you simplify, yes? How about this one? 12 over 36 and 18 over 36. You get the conditional run, right? All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to forward the screen, and we're going to try filling in this table right here, okay? So give me a second. Let me forward your screen. No, those were the slides that I showed you earlier. All right. Lock your toolbar. Now, before you do anything, I'm going to test to see how, or I'm going to check to see if you understand the terminology. I want you to fill this table, but only the joint relative frequencies. Go. Only the joint relative frequencies. Copy that. All right. So, let's see. Can you help me out with one of the cells for the joint relative frequency? About Chris R. Which cell do I want to focus on? Okay. Which are the joint relative frequencies? Which ones are we going to focus on? Okay. Boy, girl, Chinese, both, yes. So give me one cell. Which one am I going to focus on right now? What I mean by cell, which box am I going to focus on? Top. Okay, well, tell me total, girl total, boy total, Chinese boy, French girl, Spanish boy. Which one? Chinese girl, okay. And what do I write? No, give me the fraction first. What fraction? Okay. Hold on. Stop putting stuff away. Look up, please. They're saying 2 over 22. Is that correct? No. That's the, which one? Conditional. I'm not talking about conditional. Which is the joint? I'm looking for joint relative. Sergio. 2 over 40, which reduces to 1 over 20, which is 0.05. So joint relative frequencies are these in these 6 cells right here. And all of them divided by which one? By 40. Did I ask for marginal? No. Some of you started doing these at the end. Let's say tomorrow I gave you a pop party and you gave me all of them, but I wanted only joint. I'm going to count it as incorrect. That tells me that you don't know what you're looking at. Okay? All right. Press send on the screen. Exit out. Your home plate, basically, you're going to focus on finding relative frequencies. The play sheet's over here. Good one, guys. See you guys tomorrow.